It's time to move on. We shouldn't stay here.
What should I try this time?
Uncle Tien, we're here to chat with you.
Oh? What a lovely surprise. Welcome. Oishi, why don't you go downstairs and get... I heard that you've been traveling all over the place recently. I would very much like to hear your adventure story. Hoishin told you, didn't she? Don't worry. I'm quite all right. It's just the years gradually catching up with me. As I grow older, I'm starting to find that with many things, though the mind is willing, the flesh is weak. Especially recently, I've noticed a rather drastic drop in my energy level. I am still very much in good standing as the Tianshu today. Nevertheless, I wish to pass on the position before my mental acuity begins to decline beyond redemption.
How difficult is it to transfer the Tianshu position?
Oh, well, you see, the Tianshu is a rather unique position among the Liyue Chi. Historically speaking, the Tianshu rarely appears in public. We stay behind the scenes. We also want to keep any prospective Tianshu candidates free from influence by outside forces, so we tend to be as discreet as possible in their assessment and appointment. For these reasons, the incumbent Tianshu typically recommends their candidate of choice, and this is then approved by the other Qixing.
So in other words, you pick someone, and then Lady Keqing, Lady Ningguang, and the other Qixing appoint them?
Correct. Unfortunately, due to my health, I won't be able to assess every candidate myself. Not to despair, however, because I found someone exceptionally capable to act on my behalf as assessment officer. In fact, I believe you recently became acquainted with her yourself.
Oh? Who is it?
I'm heartbroken. I thought it might take you a little longer than this to forget all about me.
It's Yelan!
Jackpot. Uncle Tien here asked me to assess 3 candidates for him. Fancy joining me? You'll be among the first to get to know the next Tianshu. Might be a good opportunity for—
What do you think? Paimon thinks so too.
All right then. Though, I gotta say, Uncle Tien, you say you're into behind-the-scenes planning? My work's of the covert variety too. Don't you think I might make a good Tianshu?
Huh? Yelan,
I'm not opposed to the idea, but I suspect Ningguang wouldn't let you go very easily after how long you've been working together. So, how about this? If your investigation reveals that none of the other candidates are qualified for the position, I'll recommend you.
Deal. Well, you guys meet me on the first floor when you're ready. Oh, and no need to pay for your tea. As the new owner of this fine establishment, you're all set? Yeah, it may sound harsh, but Uncle Tian, so he's recommended 3 candidates. Their names are Qinwei, Mingbo, and Zhi. Qinwei is a wealthy entrepreneur. Mingbo works at the Liyue Ministry of Civil Affairs, and Zhi is focused on study and travel. Try to keep all that in mind. Of course, it doesn't...
Tianwei, Mingbo, Ji.
Let's leave that until... All right.
Got it. We'll keep our eyes...
My legs are getting sore. What is wrong with this assessment officer? This is a huge occasion and I don't even get a chair. I've dealt with all kinds of people in my time, but never have I been made to stand while I'm waiting for an appointment.
Oh, I mean,
That's called being complacent. If you're happy to just accept the way...
Oh, come on. That's just... Now you're just being unreasonable.
All right, you two. Let's not get into a big argument over this. Qianwei, that was a bit uncalled for. And Mingbo, cut him some slack. We've all been standing... Look, how about this? There's no rule saying we're obliged to stand up.
Fine.
It looks like all 3 candidates have arrived. Mm-hmm. We'll meet them I've split it into 2 stages. Current affairs and planning, and face-to-face. In the first stage, candidates are required to submit a manifesto for Liyue's development. Writing a manifesto takes time, so I informed them of this requirement in advance. These are the reports they submitted.
Wow. One of them is really...
It's also worth mentioning a stipulation I gave them. Whoever is appointed as the new Tianshu will be expected to implement their plan as put forward in their manifesto. Failing the occurrence of some cataclysmic event, they will not be permitted to change their plan. Therefore, these 3 piles of documents in front of us represent where each candidate stands on... There's still some time. Have a skim through, get a first impression of what... I'll be waiting off to the side.
Do you need a hand with Hoishina's take?
By the way,
Me neither.
Finished, huh?
Everyone took it.
Of course they did. They have the chance to be picked as the... And keep in mind, whoever gets in has to execute their plan as... We'll see the candidates now. Let's do...
Yes, ma'am.
Oh? So you two are the... I had assumed that given the great import of this situation, Lady Ningguang would perhaps be assessing us in person. I certainly hadn't imagined I'd be seeing 2 entirely unfamiliar faces. I trust you've read through my manifesto? I'd be more than happy to clarify any details you found difficult to grasp. It was written with an expert audience in mind.
Mind your tone, miss.
Relax. It wasn't intended as a personal slight against anyone in particular. I was simply stating a fact. Cloud Retainer? You know this Adeptus? With your sterling reputation, you must have a respectable level of erudition. Perhaps you will be able to understand the concepts I have put forward. Although I shouldn't get...
Oh, Is it my turn?
Yes.
I'm, Mingbo. I work in the Ministry of Civil Affairs. I've worked there for, 9 years, 5 months, and 3 days. In that time, I've handled, 2,347 cases. I have 12 active cases at the moment. They should be concluded in, 16 days. My current work is related to urban planning, and I'm also responsible for, auditing the accounts. To be more precise, there are 3 parts to the accounts, named...
Is it just...
You know what? Let's leave the self-introduction there and...
Oh,
Hello. Not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little nervous. What would you like to know? You're here to assess me, so ask away and I'll answer your questions to the best of my ability.
Your manifesto is very wide in its scope, but you don't seem to be personally involved in many of the specific fields. How can you be sure that you have the ability to put your plan into action?
Very fair question. I completely understand where you're coming from, but I'm confident in my plan. I've visited many different places, talked to lots of people with far more expertise than myself, and my manifesto is the conclusion of these efforts. Of course, 2 different problems can be interconnected in very complicated ways, and you might reach 2 very contradictory conclusions depending on which one you're focusing on. What I've tried to do is strike a balance. In other words, present an optimal solution to all the problems as a whole.
How do you plan to determine whether you are right or wrong about your proposed solution being the optimal one?
A great question. Well, I'd start by having my colleagues and the secretaries of the Yuehai Pavilion evaluate any proposals before implementation. Post-implementation, it would all come down to the result. If it turned out that my judgment was to blame for poor results, I would take responsibility.
Nice answer. All right, next question.
He seems like a great guy. Everything he said was thoughtful and
Here's my take on what we just... As you saw, Qianwei is highly knowledgeable. He proposes many excellent ideas in his manifesto, which effectively target the big issues. But he is very proud and incredibly stubborn. He doesn't care much about other people's feelings. Mingbo's plan is more thorough and more measured. You can tell he's meticulous in his work, very detail-oriented. But he and Qianwei are otherwise polar opposites. Mingbo is not very articulate and comes across as very timid.
perfect summary. Paimon.
Last but not least, Yi. His manifesto is full of pertinent details, his methodology is sound, and his proposals cover a broad range of fields, which is quite a rare feat. The depth he goes into in each and every area means it can only be a product of painstaking work. Plus, he is modest and good at dealing with. But what really interests me is that many of his views happen to coincide with Uncle Tien's. Having someone like Yi take the position would certainly put Uncle Tien's mind at rest.
Great.
We'll see. All right, then let me ask this. The ideas in...
I didn't want to say anything. Those 3 candidates have all studied but Qianwei went on to focus on his business, and Mingbo has always been occupied with his work at the Ministry of Civil Affairs. Of all of them, Yi was with me for the longest duration.
Whoa. So how did...
Qianwei was referred to me by an old friend. Mingbo came to my attention in the course of my work. As for Yi, that was pure happenstance. We first met while fishing. Gradually, as we got to know each other, we started discussing all sorts. Yi came from a poor family, and his parents died when he was very young. But he was a gifted student and a fast learner. He reminded me of a younger version of myself. So I started out giving him a few words of advice when we were out fishing and noticed how quickly he got on. Quite. And now, all of a sudden, the young are growing up and...
I don't know, Uncle Tian. You still seem in pretty good shape to me. You might have another few years of work left in you, don't you?
Oh, you. There's really no need to console me. Having less energy than...
Sounds like you sure love fish.
Ooh, there's nothing quite like fishing to pass the time.
Fresh fish soup.
Doesn't it? Also, when we've been fishing recently, Juri always brings that flavor makes for a fond memory.
Ooh, can Paimon come next?
Let's get back to the matter at hand.
I appointed you as the assessment officer, and I trust your judgment. Had you not asked me why Juri's ideas were so similar to mine, I was not going to mention my history with any of this decision must be guided by what is fair and right. Please disregard all other considerations and make your final decision only after a thorough review of each candidate's talents and capabilities. Remember, you must be thorough.
Understood. Come on, let's go talk somewhere else.
Bye-bye, Uncle Tian. Look at... So, it's gonna be... His manifesto was...
Easy. Let's not rush.
Huh? So...
No, nothing like that. The assessment itself is complete. The biggest no-no in intelligence work is to only get information from the person of interest themselves. The truth is almost always hidden beneath many layers of deception. You have to get information through many different channels. For example, Wenyuan, Shanghua.
Yes?
Lady Yelan, what are your...
Ugh! Who are they?
Did they scare you? These two, as my trusted assistants, they are always standing guard nearby. They also... Shanghua is a business expert who gets his information by trading. Wenyuan relies on word of mouth. And there's also Upei, who...
That meathead must have been out there on sea surveillance for some time now. Is he all right?
Nothing can take that guy down. Certainly not...
Shanghua, visit all the commerce guilds and look into Qianwei's background. Wenyuan, go to the Ministry of Civil Affairs and look through Mingbo's work.
Yes, ma'am.
So what about Juri?
Juri, well, obviously as the most promising candidate, we will be investigating him ourselves. Let's go to the docks first. Lots of...
If we're looking for information, why don't we try... He does business up the north.
That's...
Huh? What's Polite doing here today?
Look, your asking price for this batch is just too high. I can't buy in at this price. How am I supposed to turn a profit?
Come on, hear me out. I'm telling you, this is the single best batch of Sunsettias ever. You won't find anyone who disputes that. I accidentally dropped one into a well, and even the water turned sweet.
Even so...
All right. I'll let you in on a little secret. The boss of Second Life also wants to buy from me, but I haven't responded yet. If you won't take him, I'll just have to partner with them instead. And neither of us wants them.
Okay, well, when you put it that way, I'll accept your asking price. I'll take all your stock. Don't sell a single one to Oh, what are you doing here? And to be clear, these Sunsettias are mine.
Actually, we want to ask you a...
Juri? I've heard a story about him. They say he was born into poverty. One of his neighbors was terribly rude to him all the time, but Juri never retaliated. And when his neighbor went bankrupt, he even helped support the family. He returned cruelty with kindness, injustice with peace offerings. A gentleman of talent and character, and... oh, how did I not notice him sooner? In fact, maybe I'm not too late. If I could hire him to be the brand ambassador for Wanyo Boutique.
Oh, he sounds seems like a decent man.
Why are you asking about him anyway? Well then, in that case, the higher bidder takes the... that's...
Where? Where?
It's him, all right. Looks like he's chatting with Yelan. Come on, let's follow them and listen in. Try not to let him see you.
I'll just go and fetch an employment contract. And hey, don't try and cut me out of this.
I understand. Let's walk and talk.
What's the hurry? Don't get too close, or he'll see you. Try not to let him see you.
I understand. Let's walk and talk. So, you were looking to buy a wineware set? Oh, now I can see that you're a connoisseur, so I won't bother trying to con you. I trust you understand our shop quite well?
The truth is, an old friend of mine who likes to have a drink now and then.
What's the hurry? Don't get too close, or he'll see you. Try not to let him see.
I understand. Let's walk and talk. So, you were looking to buy a wineware set? Oh, now I can see that you're a connoisseur, so I won't bother trying to con you. I trust you understand our shop quite well?
The truth is, an old friend of mine who likes to have a drink now and then. He fancies himself as a man of culture, but doesn't care for needless extravagance. So I thought I might buy him a set of high-quality fakes.
How very thoughtful of you. Leave it to me, then. Come and collect it at Shigu Antiques whenever is convenient.
Thank you very much, Miss Yelan.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Juri. These days, it's quite rare for someone of your standing to still keep up with their old friends. It's nice to see. I'll be sure to pick out a good set for you. You can count on me. Juri seems to get along really well. Are you satisfied now, Yelan?
We shouldn't jump to conclusions just yet.
Wait, you...
Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But hey, you'll be able to try all the finest food for free.
We will? Well, come...
The wharf is I hear the anglers here sometimes sell their fish to the nearby fish market.
Welcome. What would you like to buy today?
Sorry to interrupt. We've heard about this young man called Juri who's supposed to be a fantastic...
Whoa! Yelan made up a whole fake identity.
Ah, yes, Juri. He's been... apparently, he had a rather tough time growing up. How does that saying go? What doesn't kill you makes you...
Yeah, we think...
But I'm afraid your Anglers Association might be in...
Oh? What?
He's good at a lot of things, but fishing isn't one of them. He fishes at the wharf and sells what he catches to me on occasion. His catches are always mediocre. Not terrible, but equally nothing to write home about. If you're looking to recruit some new members, though, I do know a few top...
That sounds fantastic. I've got a couple of other things to attend to right.
Sure thing. See you.
Everywhere they go, they meet someone who's heard of him. Come on, let's keep asking around.
Here to buy some fish? You better hurry. When they're gone.
Hello, we're from the
Wow!
Society for Fish.
Please, don't worry. We've heard about a certain Jur-E who...
So this isn't about me. You should have said something, you know. I haven't heard anything about him selling fresh fish at low prices, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was him.
Oh? What?
Because he's so poor. His parents died when he was very young, and his alcoholic father he was still a kid when he first came to the wharf. And he managed to survive, thanks to Uncle Tien, who he can afford to eat and everything, but you'll often see him haggling with others over it's not like he catches much anyway, so it's not going to affect...
You'd rather he didn't know?
Well, I spoke to him once, briefly, and I think he has pretty low self-esteem. But hey, it's hardly my place to say anything. Nobody's perfect.
I see. Well...
Not a problem. And...
The more times you say it, the less...
Doesn't have a lot of...
Hey, it's you guys! Wait, what's the phrase? What brings...
The truth is, we are but newcomers to this territory. We heard But of course, we also heard that...
Great! So what...
Now she's like...
So, Master...
Sure have! You mean I've heard many tales of probably because it's nothing that important.
Oh, I can complete...
Oh yeah, I know that. Before that, people always used to talk about Juri in a kind of nasty tone of voice. Sometimes he gives me candies.
Just as I thought.
Huh?
I mean, just as I thought...
I'm not... Oh yeah, one other thing. These days, there's a lot of people I've never seen before talking about Juri stories.
Oh, definitely.
Great! So next time I see...
Certainly. You can also tell my friend in Yenshangti...
Thank you, ma'am!
You're welcome.
Until we meet again.
Any of that sound strange to you?
Strange? Well, Juri seems to have a great...
True. But the issue is, where did his sudden...
Sudden? Too good...
So he returns cruelty with kindness, and had to work to support his studies. These are the kinds of things that make someone well known in their hometown. But Uncle soon said even his friends who travel far and wide hear about him wherever they go. That's a little over the top, if you ask me. Do you remember what Dugu Shuo said about Jur-E's stories? Clearly they left him with a good impression of the guy. But beyond that, he wasn't interested in the details. That's the reaction I would expect from any norm. Plus, there's the fact that all this praise of Jur-E has his childhood, his studies, the thing with his neighbor. None of these are...
When you put it like that, it is...
Of course, if that's all there was to it, I wouldn't look into... Jur-E was born into a poor family. Paying people... The problem is, do you remember what Uncle Gao said about him? He's stayed poor his whole life. Everything he's earned, he's either spent on studying, right. And that changes everything. That's the worst case scenario.
Someone's trying to gain info, even if we ask Juri...
First, we need to find out who's... Remember the current affair... Whoever is secretly helping... Come on. Jur-E's manifesto covers a huge range of topics. I'll divide the reports into 2 piles. You take one. Officially, the assessment is already over, and I'll be expected to announce the results before.
Yikes!
Whatever else Uncle Tien might think of Jur-E, any evidence he's left is not going to be immediate.
Well, oh, this reading.
Looks like I'm the first one back.
Oh, hey! It's one of Yelan's little helpers, Shenghua! If you're back, that means...
You betcha. I visited all the commerce guilds and gathered a wealth of info.
Don't drag this out.
Yes, Lady Yelan. To summarize my findings, most people who've had interactions with Qianwei will start out complaining about how proud and arrogant he is, but then go on to give a generally positive appraisal. The young master of the Feiyun Commerce Guild said that Qianwei appears arrogant, but he's once he signs a contract with somebody, he treats them
Who'd have thought?
Is it possible that his reputation is fake?
In theory, that should be very difficult. But here's the thing. Where he buys from and sells to should be confidential business information, but he doesn't seem interested in protect. Qianwei often sees business opportunities that others don't, but once he's made enough mora off of it, it's like he gets sick of it. It's like he wants people to know that they still can't beat him, even if he shares all of his secrets. The fact that
What a strange guy.
To validate his theories. No wonder his manifesto contains—
I'm back! Huh?
Why do you think?
You... Ugh, whatever. I'm not getting into an argument with you. Lady Yelan, I have finished...
Well, we're all—
The Ministry of Civil Affairs says that Minghua struggles to get his words out when he gets nervous, especially when he's... But after a few days of getting to know him, you can pretty much have a normal conversation with him. On the whole, the feedback from the Ministry of Civil Affairs was very positive.
In your opinion, was the Ministry of Civil Affairs
I don't believe so. Minghua is someone who, according to Miss Yu, the ministry often gets Minghua to take a final look at projects before they're implemented. Oh, and also, there was once someone in the ministry who was lying and cheating to try to advance their career. Minghua gave them the scolding of a lifetime.
Whoa.
Like I said before.
So that's...
Thank you both. You're free to go now. So, have you... I can't see any... The only one that strikes me as a little unusual is the Jiangshu Pool has always been home to many secrets. Plus, at some point, a rumor began a long time ago, with the approval of...
So, did they find him?
None. The ruin was the technology wasn't mature enough at that time. So the Jur-E's manifesto focuses on solving problems, and this treasure hunt still. This one fact alone.
Excavation? Project? Treasure? Oh, yeah!
Did he now?
Does that mean...
No. They do possess still.
Qianwei and Minghua both turned out to be complete... What about Jur-E? Is there another side to him too?
This is the Black Cliff Forge. Let's look around for clues.
what's this?
From the back, it looks like a ledger. We don't know who wrote it.
You think there's...
Yes. At this rate, by the time that'll give them the chance. Imagine if we didn't suspect anything. No red flags if all they did was change some key stuff. That's the advantage of...
When you put it like that, so...
That's a question for the newcomers.
I gotta say, my only complaint, I guess they just need... You got that? It rained. Hey, you're only...
Interesting. Looks like our hunch drinking in Leo. Good thing it rained today. It means they'll leave foot...
They went that way! Hurry, we gotta catch up! Huh. These footprints are heading towards Liyue Harbor. Maybe we were wrong about them.
Just as I thought. They didn't go to Liyue Harbor. They went that way. The footprints, but judging... Looks like we were too late. This has gotta be where the newcomer... Look at these ashes.
Could there be anything left? Maybe
The odds of that are...
Why don't we wait?
We can't count on... To me,
Darn!
make no mistake, I smelled some... Those newcomers probably thought they'd be...
Really?
There is a certain... Some wealthy people there put... When that fragrant ink is burned. Exactly, but it's all I need.
Lady Yelan! Oh, thank goodness I finally found you. I thought I'd never...
Don't be alarmed. This is Upe. I sent him to look into Jur-E's regular contacts. I left him a note, so... What did you find out at sea?
Forgive my incompetence. I asked all the fishermen multiple times, but none of them had any interactions with... When I got back, I heard that you'd gone to... What? No, that's not possible. It's absolutely not...
Interesting.
Fish soup?
Nothing. Well, any suggestions? Not a bad idea. Upe? What are you...
Honestly,
Okay, so...
No, we'll...
Groundwork?
When you've worked in intelligence for a long time, tomorrow morning, be sure to arrive on...